It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. And now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, it's showtime. What's happening, everybody? The Geno Jones Show. I guess you figured that out. You can see the sign in the back, right? So I come to you live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Shout out to all my new watchers, all my new viewers, all my new subscribers. Shout out to the folks that's been down with me from day one and every day in between. I appreciate, like Heavy D said, I got nothing but love for each and every one of you. So I come to you live, like I said, 6:30 p.m. on the East Coast, 5:30 p.m. in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. out on the West Coast, out in Los Angeles, 1:30 p.m. in Hawaii. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done it, and tell everybody, or as Nelly would say, everybody, tell everybody you know and don't know that you like, love, can't stand, hate to subscribe to the channel, subscribe and watch the show, watch it live, go back and binge watch, share, like every episode. All right, Cancer, stand up. It is your time to shine. Happy birthday. Portia Williams from the Real Housewives of Atlanta is 42 today. Happy birthday, Miss Portia. I see you, girl. And happy birthday to actor Donald Faison. He's 48 today. So back in the day, remember Waiting to Exhale? So he was Loretta Devine's son in Waiting to Exhale. There was a TV show, I think it was on NBC, called Scrubs. He was one of the doctors on that show. He was also in Remember the Titans with my favorite actor, the greatest actor of all time, Denzel Washington. So Donald Faison is 48 today. Happy birthday to all my Cancers. So as you can see, I'm wearing all black. Shout out to my stylist, the official stylist, wardrobe consultant for the Geno Jones Show, Allie Jones. You can check her drip, her collection of fashions out on Instagram, Lexi with 2 X's, lexi.nicole_ line below design. So I'm wearing all black out of solidarity. I really, if I want to tell the truth, really, I'm wearing all black because I'm angry, man. I'm mad. I really, you know, because I'm on camera. I know it's my show and it's my channel, but you know, I had to really take a deep breath because this really happened yesterday. It was really hot, but I'd have really needed to say less yesterday. So I said like nothing. I said a whole lot less because I needed to give myself like a day just to let it breathe. But it simmered, and the more I thought about it, the angrier I got. What am I angry about? Well, first of all, I'm not angry about this, but it's early voting here in South Carolina. There is a runoff. As a matter of fact, shout out to State Representative Crystal Matthews. She's been a regular on the show, a guest. She is running in the Democratic primary runoff to be the Democratic candidate to go up against Tim Scott to beat his ass, get him out of there, and she can be our next U.S. Senator. Represent us up in Washington, D.C., be in the Senate, help out Joe Biden. She'd be the first black woman U.S. Senator here in South Carolina ever. As a matter of fact, there's only been 3. No, there's only been 2 that I can remember. Senator Kara Mosley Braun from Chicago. She was U.S. Senator from Illinois. And then Senator Kamala Harris, who's now our vice president. So it is early voting here in South Carolina. And, you know, it's really probably early voting somewhere else. Like really every Tuesday, it's election day somewhere. You got a lot of primaries coming up. We got the general election on November 8th. Now why, and then tomorrow, I just need to say this, my guest A.J. Davis, a political activist. He is one of my political contributors to the Geno Jones Show. Brilliant brother. And we're going to have a conversation for the barbershop and the beauty salon, the barbershop and hair salon, about, okay, this voting thing. And it does count. And what we need to stop doing is stop sabotaging our power and feeding into the brainwashing narrative that's been fed to us for 403 years. So we're going to get into that. We're going to take a deep dive tomorrow. So let's talk about it. It's early voting here, and voting matters. Why does voting matter? Now, let me talk about what's really got me ticked off, pissed off. Hello to Groove Master Dre and my mother. How are you? Thank you for watching. Shaye Moss and Ruby Freeman. Shaye Moss, she was an election worker in Fulton County, Georgia. Her mother, Ruby Freeman, or as her friends and many people know her from business, Lady Ruby Freeman, election workers in Fulton County. They've been election workers for many years, doing their civic duty, patriotic duty, helping out, making sure that all the votes of the citizens of Fulton County, that everyone who participated, who exercised their power and their right to vote, they made sure those votes were counted accurately, honestly, and fairly. And that happened. Joe Biden won the state of Georgia. Senator Raphael Warnock won U.S. Senate seat. Senator John Ossoff won a U.S. Senate seat. So Georgia, the state of Georgia, in the heart of Dixie, way deep down in Dixie, in Georgia, with the red clay, elected a black man and a Jewish man to be U.S. senators. And people lost their damn mind. So, let me say this. I said it before. I'm not the only one that said it, but I've said it many times. It's been the theme of my show. The most unprotected, disrespected, neglected person in America, and I would argue on this planet, is the black woman. Let me say that again. Let me say it with my chest out. Let me say it loud so everybody in the back of the barber shop and the beauty salon and the hair salon or wherever you're watching me live can hear this. Turn it up past 10 so everybody can hear this again. The most unprotected, disrespected, neglected person on the planet, I would argue. Bring me back on camera. Thank you, demons. Is the black woman. Which leads me back to Shaye Moss and her mother, Ruby Freeman. Election workers that the demon, Orange Hitler, as I call him, Donald J. The J should stand for jackass, Donald Jackass Trump, and Rudy Giuliani with his dumb ass. Basically, what he lied on these women, said that, they were stealing votes and they were finding votes and votes in a suitcase, and they were all lies. Those votes in Georgia were counted 3 times. 3 times. As a matter of fact, every time there was a recount, Orange Hitler got less votes. So who did he pick on? Yeah, he picked on the Secretary of State. We saw him testify, Brad Raffensperger. But who he really went after, who Orange Hitler and Rudy Giuliani really went after and sick their goons, the MAGA goons, the MAGA maggots, the MAGA cult insurrectionists, the MAGA domestic terrorist, white nationalist. Who did Orange Hitler and Giuliani really sick those people on? And I use the term people loosely. 2 black women. 2 black women. And these black women, I saw them testify yesterday. The House of Representatives, the January 6th, they call it J6, the January 6th hearings were happening. And if you haven't seen the testimony, go check out, just watch the video. You can find it. Go watch it. It'll break your heart. It'll piss you off. It'll make you angry. Probably some other emotions make you want to cuss somebody out. might make you want to slap the taste out of somebody's mouth, kind of like what Will Smith did to Chris Rock. These black women testified in front of the House of Representatives at the House hearing, the January 6 hearings. They talked about how afraid they are to this day, how they live in fear. They live in fear. They are afraid for people to say hello to them by their name when they're in a grocery store, when they're out in the public. They are afraid to go out in the public. It's just, it's horrible. What's happened, these women are afraid to go out of the house. As a matter of fact, the grandmother of Shaye Moss, the youngest election worker. So you had people, as a matter of fact, of all people, Kanye West's publicist shows up to the grandmother of Shaye Moss's house to make a citizen's arrest. Have you lost your damn mind? You come to my house, I'm going to make the citizen's arrest. Please understand. Fool around and find out and get your feelings hurt. And I don't advocate violence, but I believe in self-defense. Every American has the right. It's codified in law. You have a right to defend yourself and to defend your castle, as they call it. As a matter of fact, there are laws called, in many states, Google the Castle Doctrine. Yes. The Castle Doctrine states that you have a right to defend yourself, really by any means necessary, to protect you, your family, in your castle, your home. So these black women, the grandmother, living in fear, afraid to go to the grocery store, afraid to go out of the house, to go anywhere, just to take a walk down the street, to go to the park. And why? Because some asshole, some coward is upset because people didn't want his ass and still don't want his ass. And his ego, fragile, shallow ego, and his narcissism couldn't accept that people don't want you, can't stand you, don't like you, hate you, and wouldn't vote for you. You got less votes, dude. Loser, or to kind of remix a phrase, you're fired. Your ass was fired. But he couldn't accept that. So he lied, and he lied about these women, and he mentioned their names, Shaye Moss and Ruby Freeman, and the goons and the thugs and the white nationalists and the rest domestic terrorists. Went hunted these women to the point to where the FBI had to tell the mother, Ruby Freeman, recommended she leave her house. So this woman had to leave her house in America in 2022. So this black woman who was just doing her patriotic civic duty to make sure that the votes in the county that she lives in were counted accurately, an act of patriotism caused domestic terrorists to come raining down on her, and then wait a minute. So the FBI tells her that she might want to leave her house. Wait a minute. How about yo FBI? Why don't you all put agents outside of her house? How about Mitch McConnell in the Senate? Hey, Senator Mitch McConnell. How about you getting upset like you got upset when Brett Kavanaugh and folks showed up to Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh's house, and you got your panties all up in your ass, and you're just, well, this is un-American. I'm paraphrasing. We've got to that the House and the Senate, they got to pass a law to protect Supreme Court judges. Good. And while you're doing that, pass a law to protect Shaye Moss and Ruby Freeman and Shaye Moss's grandmother and Ruby Freeman's mother. How about that, FBI? Put some agents. They need it now. Because you know, since these black women testify to the horror that they are still living under to this second. Who's going to protect these black women? Once again, the most unprotected, disrespected, neglected person on the planet is a black woman. So FBI, I'm going to need you all to make sure that you got some agents stationed in front of each one of their houses. Shaye Moss, Ruby Freeman, and Shaye Moss's grandmother, Ruby Freeman's mother. That's what you need to do. Now, I'm not going to hold my breath, but that's what you need to do. That's exactly what I want to see. But to the brothers and sisters in Fulton County and in Atlanta, the metro Atlanta, I got family and many friends down there. I'm going to need you all to handle your business. And black men in Atlanta, I'm not saying you haven't. I just don't know about it. But I'm just saying I'm going to need you to stand up. Because since black women are the most unprotected and neglected and disrespected person on the planet, it is up to us as black men to do something about it. So I'm going to need the brothers in Atlanta to make sure that Shaye Moss and Ruby Freeman and Shaye Moss's grandmother, Ruby Freeman's mother, make sure they're protected. You got many brothers down there, retired military, in law enforcement, retired law enforcement. So I'm going to need you, even if you got to start a GoFundMe page, to provide around the clock 24/7 security for those three women. So that's what I'm going to need y'all to do in Atlanta. You may have already done it, but that's what but at the same time, I'm going to need the FBI. As a matter of fact, I want the House Commission, Adam Schiff, and everybody, Lynn Cheney, all the members of this committee from the House of Representatives, you need to make sure that security is provided for Shaye Moss and Ruby Freeman and Shaye Moss's grandmother. But in the meantime, it is up to us as black people and as black men especially to make sure that because at the end of the day, we can't expect anybody to really protect black women the way we can and should. So that's my challenge to the brothers in Metro Atlanta. You protect these women, because Shaye Moss and Ruby Freeman and Shaye Moss's grandmother and Ruby Freeman's mother could be your daughter, could be your mother, could be your sister, could be your wife, could be your grandmother. Oh yeah, easy, very easily could be. As a matter of fact, if I remember, I didn't get a chance to call my mother before. And mother, you're watching, so you can post this if you get a chance. I do remember when I was a little kid that my grandmother, who raised me along with my grandfather and my mother, my grandmother, who I'm named after, Jean Jones, she was a poll worker a couple times. So that could have been my grandmother. So it's up to us. So I share this story. I give you this monologue. Why? Because this is just another example of why voting matters, even in every local election. Because shout out to the mayor of Atlanta. Now you got a governor. Now, Brian Kemp is a Republican. I know Brian Kemp is going to sit on his hands. He's going to sit on his ass and not do anything. But see, if you had a governor that was elected by people who are anti-racist, who are not misogynistic and sexist and anti-Semitic, anti-immigrant and homophobic, who were not homophobic and transphobic, if you had just people who had compassion, empathy, and humanity, a governor would make sure those women, there was some protection, that there would be some state troopers, the city, the county, state, all need to make sure that these women are protected. Just have a patrol car. You can afford it. You don't need an army, just one. But you know what? Once again, to the brothers in Atlanta, don't wait for anybody to do for you and yours what you can do for you and yours. You all do it for yourselves. Do that. Now, and if this, after me sharing this story, and after me doing this monologue, if hearing the story, if seeing the video, and if you haven't seen it, I want you to go and watch the video of the testimony yesterday at the January 6th hearing of Shaye Moss and her mother, Ruby Freeman, AKA Lady Ruby Freeman. And if you've seen this, or after you see this video, and you see the fear and the pain, and you see these women in tears, and talked about how it's changed their life, and Shaye said she's stressed, she can't sleep, she's gained 60 pounds, she's afraid to go outside, and her mom is afraid to go outside, afraid for people to even just mention her name. She's afraid to order, to-go food. She don't even want to order food and have it brought to the house, or even go to a restaurant and order carry out. She's afraid that they'll say her name out loud. She doesn't know who's watching her, who's following her. And if that doesn't anger you, piss you off and make you angry and energize you to not just vote, but to make sure you take 25 to 50 people with you, and 25 or 50 people that you know when you're sitting around in the barbershop or the hair salon or wherever, and you hear your nieces, your nephews, your son, your daughters, spouse, parent talk about, I ain't voting, it don't matter. The lesser two evils. Stop with that BS, because no, it ain't that situation. No, there's one real evil. You've seen the evil. You saw it on January 6th, and there was only one party. It ain't even the Republican Party. Because what was the Republican Party? It's not a MAGA cult. Now, what was the Republican Party is a white nationalist, fascist, domestic terrorist party. Full stop. It's the party of white nationalism, of anti-Semitism, of anti-immigrant, homophobia, misogyny, sexism, and domestic terrorism. They don't believe in democracy. They don't believe in freedom or equality. They believe in white, Christian, nationalistic, racist rule. Kind of like what South Africa was 40 years ago. 50 years ago. Yeah, that's what this is all about. And they don't even make any, and you say, well, Geno, you shouldn't call them names. Don't call them racist. I got to call it what it is. This suit and shirt is black. I ain't going to call it purple, because it ain't purple. It's black. If you go to the doctor, and if you are sick, the doctor needs to tell you what's wrong with you. And he can't make it up and say it's one thing when it's not something else, because you got to call whatever it is, identify it. Call a thing. Name it. So you can deal with it and treat it, cure it, and get rid of it. This, after seeing these black women threatened, continuously living in fear every second of their life for just doing their civic duty and being real patriots and heroes in a pandemic, making sure that people could exercise their right to vote, and for them to be, for their lives to be under threat constantly, that alone should piss you off and say, okay, you know what, we're going to do this. All right, we're going to take the power. We're going to turn out in numbers like never before. Because I'm telling you, Shaye Moss, and Ruby Freeman, and Shaye Moss's grandmother, yesterday, it could be your sister, your daughter, your mother, your wife, your grandmother tomorrow. Oh yeah, it could be you tomorrow. I can't stress it enough, you all. You better take this thing seriously. Don't take this, what's this flawed democracy. Yeah, and it is this democracy, it is flawed as hell. But the people who are currently running for office, I think there's a number I heard or saw somewhere. There's like over 100 people who stormed the Capitol, domestic terrorists that are running for office, some office, political office in this country. You got some running for governor. Got one running for the governor in Pennsylvania. You got one running to be the governor of Michigan who was indicted, who's charged with a crime. You got to vote. You got to vote. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you. God, most of all, thank you for letting me do the Geno Show. I come to you live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. on the West Coast. Please subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe to the Geno Jones channel and the Geno Jones Show right here on YouTube. So subscribe, like, and share this and every episode. Shout out to Mr. Markel Bailey, the official barber and hairstylist of the Geno Jones Show. Once again, Allie Jones, she is the official stylist and wardrobe consultant for the Geno Jones Show. You can check out Allie Jones on Instagram, Lexi with 2 X's, Lexi.Nicole_designs. Everybody, have a great day, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching this show. And I apologize sometimes the technical difficulty. I believe the enemy is busy because when I'm speaking the truth and bringing the heat, I know the enemy don't want the truth. But you can't, not only can you not handle the truth, you can't stop the truth. How about that? Because we're going to run it back tomorrow. Oh yeah, we're going to run it back with the same fire. I'll probably be dressed in all black again. I got several nice black suits. So I'm going to just run it back in a different one. My guest, A.J. Davis. So we're going to talk about why it's so important to vote. Because what happened to Shaye Moss and Ruby Freeman could happen to you, or could happen to, once again, your sister, your daughter, your mother, your wife, your grandmother. It could happen to you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Shout out to Mother. Thank you, Miss Mary Dixon, my #1 fan, and my executive producer, and Groove Master Dre, and everybody else. I really want to thank everybody for watching me live. I apologize if you're watching this. Some of those days, technology is going to just do what it does, but we just keep it moving. So the next live edition of the Geno Jones Show is going to be Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Or if you thought today was fire, you ain't seen, well, yeah, you've seen something. But we're just going to continue with the heat and the fire and the truth tomorrow. Thanks for watching, everybody. As always, be blessed. Pray for peace. Please, let's pray for peace. Thanks for watching.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of The Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.